Hi everybody, in this opportunity I am going to share with you an important section from the TOEFL IBT, which is the listening section. I'm a student from the Technical University of Ambato, the English career. I'm presenting my element number 4 for Advanced English. Types of questions on the TOEFL IBT test, listening section. But first, what is the TOEFL IBT test? The TOEFL IBT test is an exam to measure the English proficiency and academic skills of non-native speakers of English. It is required primarily by English language colleges and universities. Additional institutions such as government agency, businesses, or scholarships programs may require this test. The listening section consists of 6 long passages and questions about the passages. The passages consist of 2 campus conversations and 4 academic lectures or discussions. The questions ask the students to determine main ideas, details, function, stance, inferences, and overall organization. Furthermore, in the listening section, we have 6 passages and 34 questions in an approximate time of 60 minutes. The TOEFL IBT test is scored on a scale from 0 to 120 points. Each of the 4 sections, reading, listening, speaking, and writing, receives a scale score from 0 to 30. The scale scores from the 4 sections are added together to determine the overall score. Okay, now let's move to how to recognize the types of questions from the listening section. We have 6 types of questions. Number 1, understand the gist. Number 2, understand the details. Number 3, understand the function. Number 4, understand the speaker's stance. Number 5, understand the organization. And number 6, understand relationships, inferences, and drawing conclusions. Number 1, understand the gist. In this case, you are going to listen to someone or something like this.
Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
Today we're going to review the characteristics of sleep in both humans and animals. We talked about this some in the last class, and you should have done the reading, so this should all be clear to you. First of all, what are the main characteristics of sleep? Let's talk about this diagram. What happens to the human body when a person is sleeping? Can you start this off for us, Pam?
Well, during sleep, the muscles relax, both breathing and heart rate slow down.
So now, how to identify the question? What is the subject or topic of the passage? What is the purpose of the talk? And why something in the passage? Here we have to listen for the main idea. What, who, and why. Here we have to pay attention to the beginning of the conversation or lecture. Often, we can form an overall idea of the gist, adjust our initial idea based upon what are here through the remainder of the passage. Information to help you understand the gist may be directly stated at the beginning of the passage. It may also be necessary for you to draw a conclusion about the gist based upon information provided throughout the passage. Let's move to question number 2. Understand the details. How to identify the question? What is stated or indicated in the passage about? According to the speaker, how, when, where did something happen? Here, first of all, we have to listen carefully to the details in the passage and take quick notes on key terms. Look for the answer that correctly restates the information from the passage. Eliminate the definitely wrong answers and choose the best answer from the remaining choices. Information needed to answer detailed questions is directly stated in the passage. The answers to detailed questions are generally found in the same order in the passage as the questions that appear after the passage. Be careful, sometimes here the questions contains two answers. Now, questions number 3. Understand the function. How to identify the question. Listen again to a part of a passage. Why does the speaker say this? What does the speaker mean? And what does the speaker imply? In this type of question, you are going to listen something like this.
Number 6. What does the professor mainly want to get across in the discussion?
And then we have some time to keep a look on our notes and answer the question. The part of the passage that indicates the function of what the speaker says will be replayed for you. Listen carefully to what the speaker says and the surrounding context in the part of the passage that is repeated. Draw a conclusion about why the speaker says it. Question number 4. Understand the speaker's stance. How to identify the question. Listen again to a part of a passage. What does the speaker mean? What can be inferred about the speaker? But be careful if the question says, what is the speaker's attitude or opinion? Because here we don't have the replay and we have just to use our notes. Here, a useful strategy to answer the question is listen for one or voice or word choice. If a part of the passage is repeated, pay careful attention to it. Form an idea about how the speaker feels based on the tone of voice, word choice, and context. The part of the passage that indicates what the speaker says will be replayed for you. Here, the key is the tone of voice and choice of words of the speaker. Draw a conclusion about how the speaker feels. Now, let's move to question number 5. Understand the organization. How to identify the question. Why do the speaker discuss or mention? How is the information organized? What is explained or illustrated by the example of? Click or put a check mark in the correct column or box. Here, as I said before, we have to click or put a check mark into the correct column or box. Here we're going to use column or boxes. Information to answer organization questions is generally not from one point in the passage and may not be directly stated. It is necessary to understand all the main points and how examples and details relate to each other and to the overall organization of the passage. Here we have to listen carefully to specific details and examples in the passage. Consider why these ideas are discussed in relation to the overall passage. We have to think about how the passage is organized by comparison, contrast, cause and effect, and so on. Look for an answer that shows how the examples or details fit into the organization of the passage. Eliminate the definitely wrong answers and choose the best answer from the remaining choices. Finally, understand the relationships, inferences, and drawing conclusions. How to identify the question. What will the speaker probably most likely do next? What does the speaker imply? What can be inferred? Here, it is important to listen to how the different ideas in the passage are related. Also, listen to how the speakers react to each other's ideas, and then draw a conclusion about the speaker's meaning. Information to answer relationship questions is not directly stated in the passage. It is necessary to understand the main points and draw a conclusion based on the main points to answer the question. We have to listen carefully to each of the points in the passage and how speakers react to each other's ideas. Based on the overall conversation, draw a conclusion about the speaker's meaning. Look for an answer that expresses a relationship that can be inferred from the information in the talk. I hope that this video helped you to deal better with the second part of the TOEFL IVT test, listening. Thank you so much.